I've updated the stream text. On Twitch, Stream says, PlayCompile is now live streaming software and game development. I did it. I made a procedural train simulator in Unity. Welcome to the PlayCompile live stream.
It was me all along. I did it. It was all me. I had nothing to do with ChatGPT. Shut up. It helped a little. It did help. Yeah, helped a lot. I gotta be honest, GBT's been very good over Christmas. It was shit right before Christmas. Terrible. I'm just making a new end screen, so you know my end screen. It's a bit boring. So I thought I made this wallpaper because I'm sad. I need to do something to break up the intense coding. So I downloaded the Suomi and paused her and made a wallpaper with her, as you can see. And I think instead of see you later, right? This is clever. This Sui, is that how you put it? Swarmy you later. It sounds better in my head. Swee me you later. It doesn't fit. Give me a minute. Oh, swee me you next time. How about that one? That's good. Swee me you next time. Swarmy you next time. I think that's funny. Okay. So make it white. How about a little bit of... Now she's blue, right? So she should be blue. With a stroke. Maybe of white. Oh, I could put a little pink. A little bit of a pink tint to that, maybe. And a drop shadow. That's good. And then we're just gonna give it a little bit of an arc. Just a little bit. That's good. Swarmy next time. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I don't know. It kind of gets in the way of the beautiful job that I did with the wallpaper. What if we do it down here and just give it a bit of a bulge and kind of fit it in there?
On YouTube at Tommy Muralist says, Ole.
Hola Tommy, how are you? Saw me you next time. I think that's good. Alright, that's gonna be my new endstream.jpg. Okay, so now if we go to I think that looks good. I like that. Alright, that'll do. Okay. So from the title, I did it. I did it. It was me. I did it. What have I did exactly? Well, we now have. Well, I'm very, very proud of this. We now have a procedurally generated railway, which our train will follow. That doesn't sound like a big thing, but it actually is quite a big thing. There's a lot of maths involved. Okay, so our train sets off. So let's just put that there a second. Not there. There. There we go. Our train sets off, and we can see it in the open world. There he goes. Following the rail. The rail is procedurally generated from splines. That is cool as frick. It's so good. It needs a little bit of polish. The turning could be a bit more sophisticated. So this route is a real route, by the way. So it's actually Harrow and Wealdstone, past Paddington, past Oxford Circus, past Westminster and Waterloo, onto Elephant and Castle. So this is me modelling my rails as per the London Underground map. So my game will basically mirror the London Underground. It's not going to be 100% accurate or anything, you know, you can't use it as like a point of reference, like scale or anything, but it's going to roughly follow the shape and distances that the real London Underground actually has, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's very good. Right now the train collapses in on itself when it stops, but we'll fix that, don't worry. That's I'm very proud of that. I need to make sure the train goes in the opposite direction correctly. I don't know if it does. I haven't tested it yet. It's time to test it. So if we set train motion, if we say instead we want to go from Elephant and Castle to Harrow and Waltham and Wealdstone, our train simulator should rotate the train correctly. Well, the train should never rotate, right? Trains don't actually rotate. So instead, what we have, if we look at our train, this is also kind of tricky. What we have is we have a head 1, which is this one. We have carriages in the middle. I've only got 1 carriage for now, but I could have as many as I want. Carriages in the middle, and then a head 2. Because the train has 2 fronts essentially, right? So whichever direction you're going in, the head becomes the front of the train, right? So this is the front of the train. Normally, let's say head A. This is when we go in a forwards direction. If we go in a backwards direction, it should use head B as the head, but everything else should follow suit. Moment of truth, does it work? Please work. It didn't do anything. Why didn't it do anything? Does it think it arrived at the destination, maybe? Let's have a look. There's something wrong with our train motion then. Oh, I also need to map station distances. Oh, yeah, I guess where... See, we can't really calculate starting and stopping. So we can't really determine the direction and the route until we mark distances. Is this set up and working or not? So let's put it back to the original route because it will run the original route. I need to put the horse before the cart and not the cart before the horse. Train motion. To Elephant Castle. Is sleeper index working as well? Sleeper index might be working now as well. Okay, sleeper index isn't working. But distance along track is. Okay, we'll look at sleeper index later. Distance along track is useful. Okay, so what we essentially need to do now, before we can do the next thing, is we got to figure out where each station is going to be. And then mark the distances of the stations so that it knows when and where to stop at each station. It's kind of tricky though, because like, I don't know, does it stop at, but we just drove past Paddington. Does it stop at Paddington in real life? We can check if we look at our route, right? So if we look at the train motion, this is all built on real world data. So if we check the route that it's traveling, it goes from Harrow and yeah, it does stop at Paddington. Okay, so I missed my I missed my stop. The train's going too fast. Slow it down. It's going too fast for my brain. Okay, let's slow it down to 32 miles an hour. It's just a little more than half the speed. Okay, run it again. It does stop at Paddington. So we need to look at Paddington. If we look at Paddington, no, we're doing this the wrong way around. We're on the Bakerloo line, so we check the Bakerloo line, and Bakerloo line has one route, which is Route A, which is the route that we're traveling. So then we check Route A. Route A says here, Paddington distance. This is what we need to mark. So check our train. Maybe we need to like put something in the UI. We need some like debugging thing. Otherwise, I've got to track all these game objects. Are we anywhere near Paddington, or did we go past it already? No, there we are. I can see us. I can see us. There we are. So I assume Paddington is like here then? It could be this one. I don't really know. I mean, it's somewhere around here, right? Okay, so here we come up to Paddington. Our distance. I would say this should be Paddington right about here. I think that's Paddington. That looks pretty lined up with Paddington to me. Yeah, I mean, we've got a terminal here and a terminal here. So there should be a platform right about here for Paddington. So we can take this distance. Oh, it's read only. Does that mean I can't copy it? Okay, we can copy it. So Paddington is a that. So what Waltham? What was the first one? Harrow and Wealdstone. So Harold I was going to say the name. Harrow. I say Harold. Harrow and Wheelstone is at 0 distance, right? Because that's where we start from. So we know Harold. I keep saying Harold. Harrow. H&W. Okay, we know H&W is at 0. Paddington is at 1021. And it doesn't really matter what these units are. These units are just made up nonsense units. That's not miles, that's not meters. Maybe it's meters. It's not anything because this isn't the scale. So it doesn't really matter. But okay, whatever the unit is, we'll call it train units. How about that? Cappy units. A cappy meter, okay? It is 1021 cappy meters away. And if you ask me how long a cappy meter is, I couldn't tell you. It's just a made-up number. That's all you need. That's all you need to know. Okay, so next up is Oxford Circus. So let's run this, continue the simulator. Where is Oxford Circus? Let's find it. Oxford Circus is here. There's a terminal here and there's a terminal here. So when the train gets here, when the train gets pretty much where the text for Oxford Circus is, that's we want to measure this distance for Oxford Circus. Okay. Here we come, here we come, here we come, here we come, here we come. I love this. This is so fun. I would say Oxford Circus should be about here. All right, so let's copy the distance and mark it. All right, so now we've got Oxford Circus. Next up is Waterloo. Wait, doesn't it stop at Westminster? No, I think if we enable the lines, you'll see Westminster's on a different line. But we can check if we actually click, because all this is real world data. If I check Westminster, it'll tell me all the lines it's on. It's on District, Circle, and Jubilee. We're on Bakerloo. So clearly Bakerloo does not pass through Westminster. It just looks like it does. So we actually stop at Waterloo. So once our train gets here, Waterloo. Waterloo makes it sound like I need a wee. There's water in my loo and maybe a little bit of bleach. But only when I need a poo on my Waterloo. Waterloo, can't you flush my poopy poo? Waterloo, I haven't got no loo roll. Here we come, here we come, here we come, here we come, here we come. I think this is a terminal for Waterloo, it looks like. Is this a terminal for Waterloo? Looks like it. Bam! There we go. We're at Waterloo. Distance. Get it? Log it. There it is. Waterloo. All right. What's next? Final destination, isn't it? Oh, no, we're not going to die, are we? It's the final destination. I hope you're ready to watch me get electrocuted live on stream. I shouldn't joke about that. Elephant and Castle, which sounds like a pub. This is super fun. What we should do as well is get like real world images. That would be fun. Oh, that would be pretty cool, right? If I go and get like a picture, like we could search Google for like all these stations or all these towns or whatever, right? Whatever they are, regions in London. Find a nice picture that represents that town. Run it through like AI artistic generation, right? So it kind of takes the photo and makes it look like a drawing or something. And then like display it as we arrive at each station, you know, welcome to Harold and Wheelstone. And then this like picture. That's cool as fuck. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is going to be so fun. I'm loving this. Does this mean I've abandoned my old game? No. But I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't be starting this one. I needed a technical challenge and not like the one that I'm on. I don't know. This just seemed like the next thing to do. I will finish my other game. I will finish because I still want to make an RPG. Right, Elephant and Castle. Well, we know it's going to be at the final distance, right? It's the final distance. So we need to do it before the train collapses in on itself. Distance along track. Let's see what that number goes up to. Right now, well, let me copy this distance just as a backup. How high will that number go? Well, that's weird because the distance, even though it stopped moving, the distance keeps climbing. Right, I'm just going to borrow... Okay, I'm just going to borrow GPT's opinion for a second. I need GPT to tell me what to think. Okay. Before we get into tunnel generation, I'm at the point where I need to mark station distances. The problem is distance along track continues to increment even as the train stops. The carriages also collapse into the head after the head stops. I could either mark some okay. All right, let's see what it does. You are now dealing with train kinematics, not spline math, and the symptoms you describe are exactly what happens when the head is clamped, but the physics model is not. Let's address this cleanly and deterministically. Root cause is why this is happening. Distance along track is unbounded. You increment at every frame regardless of spline length. station stop, braking state. So even when the head appears stopped because the spline clamps sampling, the distance keeps increasing, which causes carriages sampling further ahead behind. Collapses into the head, invalid station distance readings. Carriages are not physically braking. Your model assumes carriages are always carriage spacing behind the head. That assumption only holds if the head actually stops moving or the distance variable stops changing. Right now, head is visually clamped. Distance continues to move. Carriages keep advancing toward the head. Correct mental model. You want one authoritative scalar, distance along track, represents the physical position of the head. Everything else derives from it. That means if the head stops, distance along track stops. If distance along track stops, carriages automatically stop. No per carriage braking logic is required. Step 1, clamp distance before applying it. This must happen every frame, not just on setup. Add this immediately after updating distance. Okay. Where do we update distance? Also, we lost our turbulence as well. So we declare a float. Shit. What did I type? I didn't mean to type equals. I meant to hit backspace. We declare a float of delta, which is current speed times time dot delta time times forwards. Well, if the bool is forwards, we go 1 factor. Otherwise, we go negative 1 factor. Distance along track plus equals delta. Hard clamp, this is non-negotiable. Distance along track equals math f clamp. Distance along track 0f root spline total length. So we're clamping it to the spline's length. Okay. This alone prevents overshooting stations, carriage collapsing at spline ends. Step 2, introduce a stopping target, station aware braking. Right now, your train has no concept of where it should stop. Let's get some music on, shall we? It's the music. The music. Okay, step 2, introduce a stopping target, station aware braking. Right now, your train has no concept of where it should stop. You already have station distances. Use them. I don't, Jiminy, don't you fucking gaslight me, piece of shit. I'm getting station distances now. I ain't got them. What do I look like? A fucking station... I am actually learning a lot about trains and the underground doing this project. Stop tolerance, target distance, bool braking. Those can all be private. That doesn't need to be public. I want it to be accurate. Set this in run routes. Start distance is start station spline distance. It's, well, I renamed it for start. It's not spline distance, it's end distance. No, this is the problem though. I want, oh my god. I think Jippity's Jiminy's being a bit aggressive with this. Here's the reason why, right? It's a chicken and an egg situation. It's saying we need to stop at the distances marked for each station, but I don't have the distances for the stations until I measure them. I need to measure the distances first. Okay, so I think what we should do is we need to declare the floats of start distance and end distance. And we need to caveat that with if measure mode, then start distance equals, we don't know where the station starts, so we'll just set it to 0. End distance equals route spline total length, else start distance equals start station start station wait. Yeah, we take a start station and an end station, but we need to get to the stop. Let me see. A station doesn't implicitly know its stops, but it knows its routes. So let's say for, right, Bakerloo has, let's say Paddington because it's in the middle. Right, so we have our station of Paddington. We need to find this line. Do we know the active line? Well, we know the spline. The spline is inferred from route. Yeah. So from route, that's a line. That's a route. From route, dot stops. So first we need to get the stop index. Yeah, we have start index and end index. So start index is actually the route at position start index dot, isn't it distance? Now it's root.stops. It's root.stops at start index.distance. There we go. And end distance is root.stops at end index.distance. There we go. Okay, perfect. So if we're measuring distances, we set the start of the journey to 0 and the end of the journey to root spline total length. Otherwise, we set the start distance to the distance of the first station and the end distance to the distance of the second station. Replace speed logic with distance aware braking. So in update, we want to replace float max speed. I'm worried this is going to break everything. It's alright, I've got everything backed up. In update or update train? An update. Because we're not using target speed anymore. What the fuck? Oh, is that converting it from miles per hour into the units that we're using? Yeah, yeah. So I assume that replaces that. Right, does it still work? I bet we broke everything. Yeah, now the train doesn't move. All right. Okay. I broke it. The train is not moving at all now. Can you help me fix the train not moving? Complete the full route if measure mode is true, so I can measure station distances for each route. Reapply turbulence is no longer being called. You did not break anything fundamentally, you just missed one critical initialization and one mode specific rule, which together caused permanent breaking at frame 0. Let's fix this cleanly and deliberately. Why the train is not moving, root cause, target distance is never assigned. In run route you compute start. Yeah, because you fucking removed it. I love how it blames you for everything. It's like, here's the code. You put it in, it doesn't work. And it's like, it's because you did this, you fucking fool. It's like, no, you're the one who gave me the code, you piece of shit. I noticed that, but I assumed we were no longer using that variable. Correct fix, minimal deterministic. In run route, replace the bottom section with this exact logic. This alone restores motion. Float, start distance, end distance, down to is ready true. I thought it'd be my bit that broke it. Okay, so we're replacing that with this. I want to see if it's correct. Because this conversation has been going on a while now. I feel like it kind of needs a reset. It's probably going to start hallucinating. Let's see if it's correct about this fixing motion. So I can know how much I can trust it. Okay, it was correct about that. Jibbity is being very good right now, I gotta admit. It's very good. Yeah, that did fix motion. Okay. That might be enough, to be honest. If all I need is for it to complete the journey. I don't even really care about carriages collapsing in on themselves yet, because that fix can come later. It's a visual thing, right? Like, it's about hitting one goal at a time, right? So what is my goal right now? My goal right now is to make sure that I have all the station distances recorded so that my auto nav system knows where each station is to stop at, or where to start a journey from. Right? If you get on a train at Paddington, you don't want to get on a train at Paddington and suddenly you're teleported to the stop station before Paddington. The train needs to start at Paddington and then go to wherever you're going, right? So yeah, that's why we need distances. The hard part is done. All this curvature and spline stuff is the hardest part, and that's looking really good. Yeah, I think turbulence still isn't working, but turbulence is like a kind of a visual effect thing. I'm not really that bothered about it. The main thing is it follows the tracks correctly, which it does. Where are we right now? How far from Elephant and Castle are we? Oh, we're only at Oxford Circus right now. This is cool. It's really starting to come along. This is less than a week of development as well, which is pretty nice. Sometimes though, I've noticed like I'm getting much quicker, and I think AI helps with this as well. I'm getting much quicker at getting the initial sort of parts in place, but then do all these dynamic cameras and stuff as well. That'll be good. We're coming up to our destination, Elephant and Castle. Here we go. This is super fun. So we want to see distance stop. No, distance did stop. Distance did stop. Did the train collapse? Okay, the train didn't collapse. Oh, that's fucking cool. Okay. So end index worked then. Now we'll always know that end index is the last stop anyway. So whether it's even necessary to record the final distance, I don't really know. But it probably makes sense that we do, right? And it's just for, you know, accuracy's sake. So now we achieved what we set out to achieve, essentially. We now know that Elephant and Castle is the end of the journey, and the end of the journey is at 2,590.981 distance. That is mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful. And the train didn't collapse on itself either. Now, visually, we did... that might be a bit of a problem. Visually, we did run out of track. It looks like the train's gonna fall. Have you seen it? It looks like this train's gonna fall off the edge. Because we're actually elevated in the air as well, kind of. It's quite funny. Okay, we did run out of track. But what I could do, if we think about it, right? I don't even really have to change the mesh generator, because when you reach the end of a track, you have the railway track with the, you know, like the guard thing. So I'd probably just make a prefab and then stick that at the end of each track journey. I'd need one at both ends, to be honest. So we could just make a straight piece with the end on it. So this could very easily be a manual fix, because it's all just part of, like, yeah, like visual world building, really. Yeah, systems wise, I don't even think it matters that I ran out of track, because I can just put an extra long straight piece at the end of each route with a, you know, a blocker thing on it. That shouldn't take too long. Yeah, I think that's good. So I think we record our distances now against the stations for this route. This is the only route I have right now. It's my test route. But all the other routes should be super easy once this first one is working properly. So where the fuck am I looking now? I need to be looking I'm at routes. Route A. There it is. Which has the spline on it, which has the points for regeneration on it. Okay. So yeah, we know Walthamstow and Wealdstone is distance 0. And then it's 1021.184. Oxford Circus is 1653552. Waterloo is 2276306. Elephant and Castle is 2590981. There we go. Our first route now has the station distances marked. So because that works, that's a pretty good script as it is to keep as a backup. Because if anything goes wrong, at least we have this now backed up. So we can measure stations. But let's just see what else Jibbity was cooking. Fix 2, allow full route traversal in measure mode. Well, it's already doing that, actually.
Since advertisements on Twitter are imminent, I will engage in some comical discourse. To be frank, I'd have to change my name.
Allow full route traversal in measure mode. Right now, your stopping logic always applies if remaining is less than or equal to stop tolerance. That is wrong for measure mode. Correct rule, not normal mode, stop at station. Measure mode, never brake early, only stop at spline end. Replace your braking section and update with this. my braking section. What the hell is my braking section? So we're going from max speed stop snap down to stop snap. Okay, so this is our braking section. Okay, so that's supposed to fix measure mode overriding station stopping logic. But to be fair, that would only occur if I'd been careless in my train motion setup. So if my train motion setup doesn't have the start and the end station of the journey, then that might have interfered. But I'm likely going to try to be careful to make sure these are also set correctly when I want to measure as well. So let's test measure mode and see if it still completes the journey. Yeah, it's looking good. Let's make the top speed like 99 miles an hour so that we don't sit and wait here all day. Yeah, so that I think that also didn't break anything. That's good. Yeah, I'm very impressed with GPT right now, actually. It was absolute garbage right before Christmas. I was having the worst conversations with it ever. It was just wrong about everything. But they've done something recently, and it's I think it's better than ever. I'm actually amazed that it's kept up with me this entire conversation. This conversation's been going on for like 4 or 5 days now, and it's included everything from journey planning to like spline generation to like rail mesh generation. Yeah, it's nuts actually. It's kind of nuts. Here we are coming up to Elephant and Castle. Yeah, we stopped very abruptly. Yeah, perfect. Okay, it's working great. That becomes the new backup in Notepad++, just in case anything goes wrong. It's a very delicate project. And then what else did it want to tell me? Fix 3, reapplying turbulence correctly. You already have applied turbulence but never call it. Important rule, turbulence should never affect the authoritative position. It should only be applied after placement, per frame, visually only. Correct place to apply it, inside update train after setting position. So, optional improvement recommended. Scale turbulence by speed so it fades at stations. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. So we should apply turbulence after train position equals position. Okay. After. Isn't it a modifier? Oh no, apparently not. Interesting. And then replace our applied turbulence with a speed factor. I don't like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Put that in my basket. All right, let's go. Let's see it. So we can scale turbulence up as well via a variable that I've created. So if we go to train motion is on, do not destroy. There it is. So we can tell the train to get faster and it'll slowly speed up. We can increase turbulence. Oh, it's jittering now. It's a rough journey. Or we can scale it down. I like that. That's really cool. Yeah, I would say turbulence. While we're fixing turbulence, turbulence is like way too fast. Because the train game also... Also... also, the train is shaking like a motherfucker right now, even though the train stopped. So it said it was taking speed into account, but... Oh, it's... But I noticed that when the train stops current speed, it's still set at 64.3. Okay. Much better. Still a few issues though. Turbulence continues to jitter when train stops at end of journey. I notice the current speed states 64.37376 despite the train parked. Also, my inspiration for turbulence was the gacha resonance solstice with train mechanics. Their turbulence looks less shaky. And more like a slow moon-like cascading subtle bounce that Mexican waves along the carriages. Can we address this? Much better. Still a few issues though. Turbulence continues to jitter when train stops at end of journey. I noticed the current speed state 64.37376 despite the train parked. Also, my inspiration for turbulence was the gacha resonance solstice with train mechanics. Their turbulence looks less shaky and more like a slow moon-like cascading subtle bounce that Mexican waves along the carriages. Can we address these? Okay, much better. Still a few issues though. Turbulence continues to jitter when train stops at end of journey. I noticed the current speed stats 64.37376 despite the train parked. Also, my inspiration for turbulence was the gacha resonance solstice with train mechanics. The turbulence looks less shaky and more like a slow moon-like cascading subtle bounce that Mexican waves along the carriages. Perhaps turbulence isn't the term I should have used. Perfect. Now we're Entering the refinement stage, there are two separate issues here. Turbulence jitter after stopping. The reason the train continues shaking even after it stops is because current speed never fully reaches zero due to math F move towards and the physics time step in your update. Even when distance along track is target distance, current speed can remain a tiny non-zero float. Tiny? Tiny? 64 is tiny. I wouldn't say that's tiny. Fucking huge. Retard about. Clamp current speed explicitly when you stop at the target. Why do we only care about that in non-measure mode though? That's the thing I don't get. Why would it say if not measure mode? Don't we want it to do that anywhere? Why? Maybe it thinks it would interfere with the measurements slightly. But I disagree because distance still clamps correctly. So anyway, I don't know why it, well, it doesn't think. I was going to say thinks, but it doesn't think. I don't know why it predicted that. Current speed explicitly when you stop at the target. Also an applied turbulence. This ensures turbulence is completely disabled when the train is stopped. Moon-like cascading bounce effect. Resonance solstice style. Instead of random high-frequency jitter, you want smooth, continuous vertical wave motion along the train cars, like a soft ripple travelling down carriages. Think of it as a sine cosine wave in the local up direction of each carriage, offset in phase along the train. Mexican wave. It is a Mexican wave though. Okay, so that's the braking issue. The speed issue. A little trick I would say, right? here's what I've learned while doing all this stuff. So it's always good to think about, especially like visual effects systems or whatever, right? Whenever you're doing like a visual effects system, is that line thickness? Oh yeah, that's cool. So here's a good thing you can do. Always do like a scale setting, and then code in your effect, right? Like a wave like this, whatever it is that you're doing, and have it constant, but have it linked to an overall scalar. So you essentially want to over design it, right? This is the one time you do want to over design for things like visual effects, and here's why I think this is the right way to do it, because it saves you a lot of time. So you create your effect as at the most extreme you would ever want to see it, and then give it a scaling parameter that can be adjusted. Because then what you do is then you can randomly dice roll. Trying to draw a dice. Randomly dice roll. That's my dice, by the way. And increment up. So you dice roll a minimum. Okay. And you dice roll a maximum. And you can even dice roll a time factor, right? You could do next wave. You could do wave duration. So this could be like start time, duration. You can break this down further. And so then it's super easy to apply this to this then. Then you plug this into this. So you just say, okay, our effect will start at 0. It's off. But then we want our cascading Mexican wave jittery thing like we just went over a bumpy road or whatever, right? So then you'll randomly dice roll some numbers to tune this up to, and then that'll let you turn the visual effect up and down and like kind of like fade it up and down. But you want to design the effect itself to be like at its maximum sort of you know, whatever it is you're trying to achieve visually or whatever. That is a tip I would say is like a thing that I've learned doing this that I think is makes it way easier than trying to do it the other way around, like trying to make it like build it into the system itself or something where it's random or on off. And that's true of most things, really. You always want to make something, you always want to look at the maximum thing that you're trying to do, whether it's maximum speed, maximum distance, maximum effect, maximum whatever. And then once you have a scaling control, then you can mess with the overall amplification or deceleration or whatever it is you're trying to do. Oh, I need to take my dailies. That's probably why I've got a headache. But yeah, that's the best way to do it. Like, think of like a rain system. Like, say you wanted to make a rain system, a weather system, and you want the ability to make it rain. Make it rain! You want the ability to make it rain in your world. You don't want rain to be just on and off. You wouldn't want like torrential rain to just appear out of nowhere. And then it just abruptly stops out of nowhere. Like, you know you're going to need to dial it up and dial it down, right? So you're going to want to generate more and more water droplets, more and more sound effects, more and more whatever that amplification is. Like for something like a rain system, it would be quite a few things, right? Maybe you'd have like a lens splatter, and then you'd have like in the world some kind of water noise interference, maybe some splash effects on the ground, and then some audio that corresponds with it as well. Then you want to pipe all that into an overall scaling variable that says, okay, how much rain intensity do we want right now? And if it's at 0, we have none. And if it's at 100%, then it's like torrential downpour. And then you would slowly have your weather system dial that up. So it's like, oh, I think it's starting to rain. Sky gets darker, all the effects come into place. Yeah, that's definitely how you want to do it. In fact, I would say that Genshin's weather system, I noticed this about Genshin. They changed something in Genshin. When Genshin first came out, it had some nice weather transitions. And it kind of broke it at some point. At some point, I think like after Dragon Spine. Now Genshin has some rather abrupt looking weather transitions, and that never used to be the case before. I think Dragon Spine, it was like really smooth, because that was one thing that really impressed me. I was like, oh wow, that weather transition is really nice. But then at a certain point, and still to this day, I think the weather like is very abrupt now, and it didn't used to be like that. So I don't know if they broke something, but yeah, I think something broke the weather transitions in Genshin Impact. We don't need track offset anymore. Yeah, we don't need track offset anymore. We fixed that. That was a band-aid. So do we not use overall turbulence? I suppose we don't use overall turbulence anymore either. So we no longer apply offset. Offset doesn't... And then T and I was not. Transform T equals full train I. What? Yeah, we already have that. Pass an index for offset. Alright, that should be a very nice train motion script. Let's test that. Make sure everything still works. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that, I think. We stopped the train carriages collapsing. We reintroduced turbulence and expanded it. Train motion and alignment and everything is spot on. We don't have an overall scale factor though. Yeah, that train rotation, rotation is still a bit abrupt. I want to turn smoothing up a little bit. What about 0.8? Point 0.8 is much better. Although it looks like it kind of drifts off the track a little bit now, though. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Because the more you smooth out rotation, the more you drift from the track. But the more smooth the rotations look. So 0.4 might be better. Yeah, 0.4 is about right, I think. Depends how sharp the turn is, right? Yeah. What the fuck? Okay, maybe that's still way too much.
At Pika QuickTime 787 says,
That's
hi.
still way too much. Hello, bigger. Oh, it's because I made it 0.4 instead of 0.4. That's why. Yeah, 0.4. Wasn't it 0.8 though originally? No, it was 0.04 originally, wasn't it? So actually, I think something like 0.2 is probably better. Obviously, this is so that we can tweak things. So I'm going to try 0.2 for rotation smoothing. Wave amplitude for now, I'm going to set it to 0.5. I just want to see the effect. And then we'll do an overall visual effect on and off. Yeah, we can see it there, look. I mean, that's probably too slow. Let's try frequency of 2. Yeah, that looks more like it does in Resonance Solstice. Oh, that looks quite good, actually. You see the way the carriages kind of just bounce up a little bit, up and down. That's actually quite good. 0.52. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Where are we right now? Oh my god, we're all the way up there still. Okay, let's go faster. Yeah, we have the ability to drift off track just a little bit if we're a little too aggressive with that smoothing. That looks pretty good though. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think smoothing could be better. What's also happening though is our axis of rotation is actually at the center. Right, we still have the jittering of the carriages.
Not much of a background though.
Well, I'm still making it, you fool. Peak fucking hell. They don't come with sound effects, you know. Right. Are you talking about visual? And visually, yeah, nothing. I've got to make everything myself from scratch. Jesus Christ, I'm still building train systems. Right. I'm just going to ignore you. You're just going to annoy me. Right. 0. Our current speed still is stuck at 22. But those settings are really good. So 0.5 to 0.3. Rotation smoothing 0.2. Let's take a quick screenshot of that, just in case we lose anything. Wait, actually oh, it's because we're still playing, that's why.
I know that the background comes last in some projects anyway.
Fucking hell, I'm 4 days in, Pika, Jesus Christ. This is actually amazing that I've done this in 4 days. It's crazy. I wouldn't be able to do it without working all Christmas and ChatGPT. Okay. So we still have an issue with current speed. Oh, it's because this says not in measure mode. Yeah, I don't know why it added that part, because we're in measure mode. I really don't know why it would add that part. That's why it wasn't working. So that
Today
should
I
work.
enjoyed listening to a novel inside a book that isn't much a game anyway.
That should work inside of both. That should work inside of both contexts now. Yeah, that looks really good. Right, how big can we make the head to line it up with the tracks? I might want to go as much as 1.5. Yeah, I think 1.5 fits the tracks better. Let's make another backup. We'll make the speed super slow while we line the carriages up again. For the new scale. Let's try and... Okay. Yeah, that looks okay. That bounce is way too severe though. Yeah. 23.4. So we need to dial up speed, rotation speed. I think 0.05. Shit, what did I say? 23.4. I think it was 23.4. Oh, wave. Wave amplitude is way too much. 0.1. Let's try that. Yeah, it's still bouncing too much, really. Point 0.02. We could do 0.03. I think that's looking good. don't know. I don't know why it, like, why does it turn like it's... I do know why it's turning like that. It's turning like that because each spline has the rotation data on it. So we're reading rotation data per spline node. Itchy back. Okay. So 0.03 wave amplitude. Oh, why does it always do that? Okay, that seems fine, I guess. For now, I might want to improve the rotation though. Eventually. Does it run correctly in non-measure mode? I really don't know why the fuck is the editor doing that every single time? I do not know why it's opening this up. It's not even enabled. Why does it open map model every fucking time the player stops? That doesn't make any sense. It's incredibly annoying. I really don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, it runs in non-measure mode. That's good. It's attached to the head though, so you'd want a free camera. Alright, let's see if it goes backwards. Will it go backwards? Yes, we're using the other camera. So we need to switch cameras when we switch directions. Aside from that, yeah. So what I need to do is I just need to attach the camera, which right now is attached to head A. I have a second camera for it here. We attach it to head B, and it depends on what we want the camera to look like. I don't know yet. What am I on? Train motion. Yeah, that's right, because that's the other intersecting. Actually, I think that yeah, I mean the carriage jitter is quite severe though, I will say. Yeah, so our journey goes forwards and backwards. It measures. This is really, really good. I have most of what I need now. This is crazy in less than a week. And we just arrived at our destination, which is Harrow and Wheelstone. Okay, so let's make sure a custom journey works. Let's go from Paddington to Waterloo and see if it gets it right. This is fucking nuts. Paddington to Waterloo. The train system just like, this is fucking nuts. This is so good. Like the train system just knows where to go from and to, which direction to go in, how to traverse the tracks in 4 days. In 4 fucking days. That's crazy. Okay, are we starting? We're supposed to be starting at where? Paddington. And we are at Paddington. There we are at Paddington. This is fucking nuts. My train system already knows where to go, how to get there, what direction to go in, how to travel. This is fucking nuts. This is like 90% done. I just got to build all the tunnels, all the stations and platforms.
Since advertisements on Twitter are imminent, I will engage in some comical
Map out
discourse.
all the routes.
What do you call a dog that can do magic tricks? A
Measure
leopard
all the
cat bread or...
stations. This is fucking nuts. It works. It all works. In 4 days. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is so crazy. And where did we stop? We're supposed to stop at Waterloo? Oh, what do you know? We're at Waterloo. Oh my god, that's fucking great! That is so good! This is the best project I've ever worked on. What a great project. Right, let's back it up again, because this is in such a good place right now. All we need, I mean, sure, we could improve rotation just to visually make it look a little bit better. It's just like some tweaking, some tuning, building the tunnel corners and curvatures. I need to seriously think about how that's going to work. Okay, this is really, really good. This is looking really, 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 really good. And the thing is the fucking map as well. That's the best part. The thing is the map. So I can lay this out so that the map is the game world. The game world is the map. The map has all the station data on it. And then we just build the illusion of the world geometry on a separate layer. And then the whole thing is just self-contained. Oh, it's going to be so good. This is going to be so good. This is so good. I'm so happy with this. All right, let's back it up. Let's turn lines off for now. Let's back it up again. I know I've backed it up 1,000 times, but I cannot back this project up enough. This is looking so good right now. All right, so let's make it. We don't really need copy 2. We'll make copy 2, and then we'll copy it again. This is looking so good. And we'll also back it up on the other drive, just in case anything happens to this drive. Just to be extra safe. And we don't need that version. That version's kind of old now. That's fine, we'll just leave it. It's going to exactly take a lot of space. Yeah, this is such a good project. It's all in URP. It's like tiny. It is so compact and tiny and efficient. I just need to make the right decisions about geometry and stuff. This could be a web game. This could be a WebGL game. I'm loving it. This is so good. Yeah, we're ready to tackle tunnel geometry. Okay, so how are we doing tunnel geometry? Why is my camera flickering? That must be like some auto light detection thing. When I clapped it, kind of flashed, I noticed. Okay, so my idea is to use 2 separate systems for tunnels. System 1 is to build mesh from spline curvature and to do that on the curves. So wherever the spline, because we've got a lot of straights. We've got a lot of straights. And then use a, similar to the way that I laid sleeper prefabs, lay straight tunnel prefab pieces across the straights. And then I can vary those prefabs with station platforms and things like emergency tunnel sections or whatever. Anytime I want to vary the look of the thing. Sorry, my nose is itching me. The problem with that is even in this first route, one of the
on Twitch, QuickTime 787 says, "I know some tunnels merge into another tunnels over there."
At least one of the stations existed. No, they don't. But by the way, Pika. They're not live tunnels, they don't. No, the lines don't connect. That's why you have to get off the train and switch lines. I've ridden the underground quite a lot, and I'm modeling this on the underground. Now the way it works is some stations have multiple lines, but they have different boarding platforms because the tunnels don't overlap. That would be the fucking recipe for disasters. You'd have crashes all the time. There are emergency tunnels and evacuation tunnels. You will see other tunnels going off from the tunnel that you're riding in, but they're not live tunnels. They might connect for maintenance workers or something, but the trains do not switch lines. It doesn't work like that. The problem with my planned solution is that not every station is on a straight, right? So we have two types of railway lines. We have straights, which would use system B, let's call it. So we have system B, which is prefab placement, right, for straight tracks. And then we have curved tracks. System A, curves, mesh generation. And we generate mesh on the curves. The problem with this solution is we're going to end up with one static mesh on the curves where we can't place platforms and stations, and some of the stations live on curves. Shallow curves, but curves nevertheless.
In some places trains merge into other tracks, but if there are two trains that want to use the same track, the second train normally waits for the first train to pass, then the second train goes on that track.
Train motion looks great. Journeys are automatic, both directions. Starts and stops work correctly. I'm very happy with it for now. Back to the tunnel problem. My proposed solution of using System A mesh generation for curves derived from spline data and System B dynamically placed prefabs for straight sections has one fatal flaw.
Today Cappy has joined the Hunter, so welcome Hunter Cappy.
Whilst marking the stations, I notice there are some stations which exist on shallow curves. If we end up with one static mesh at every curve, it will become impossible to place platforms for these stations without affecting the other journeys' curves. Okay. Train motion looks great. Journeys are automatic, both directions. Starts and stops work correctly. I'm very happy with it for now. Back to the tunnel problem. My proposed solution of using System A for mesh generation for curves derived from spline data and System B dynamically placed prefabs for straight sections has one fatal flaw. Whilst marking the stations, I noticed there are some stations which exist on shallow curves. If we end up with one static mesh at every curve, it will become impossible to place platforms for these stations without affecting the other journey's curves. I'm not sure if we should separate each curve section to a separate mesh, generate tunnel curves at a minimum threshold, or some other solution. What would you recommend? Now, this is exactly the kind of subtle problem that bites you once you start combining procedural generation with world content like stations. Your observation is spot on. Stations on shallow curves are tricky if each curve becomes a single static mesh, because you'd either distort the platform to fit the curve or cut into the mesh and break the train tunnel continuity. Here's how I would approach it systematically. Option 1, curve segmentation with minimum threshold. Break the spline into segments only when curvature exceeds a certain threshold. Straight-ish sections, even with small bends, remain a single segment. Advantage is you can place stations without altering the tunnel mesh. Shallow curves count as straight and can host prefabs. The mesh generation code only operates when it's needed, high curvature, saving performance. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's why I suggested it. Implementation, compute curvature for each spline segment. So we can measure vector 3 angle previous tangent comparing with next tangent divided by vector 3 distance of previous position to next position. Start a new mesh wherever curvature exceeds curve threshold. For straight sections, leave them open or use repeatable prefab pipe segments. Keep each curve segment as its own mesh. Yeah, I think that is also essential as just an emergency fallback backup. Because if we end up with one static mesh and we could end up with a real mess on our hands. Yeah, that could get messy very quickly. For straight sections, leave them open or use repeatable prefab pipe segments. Keep each curve segment as its own mesh. Allows independent modifications like station cutouts. Threshold tuning, small enough to catch tight corners, large enough to avoid over-segmentation in gentle bends. Option 2, generate curve mesh dynamically around stations. Let the generator skip the station area and only generate tunnel before and after. Advantages, exact station placement is guaranteed. Stations can be as wide as you need without editing the tunnel mesh. Implementation, define a station buffer around each station spline distance. During procedural tunnel mesh generation, split the mesh at the buffer zone. Use prefab meshes or leave it as open air for the station platform. When the train reaches the station, the tunnel visually stops, but the spline continues. That might be an even better way of doing it. I did think of that idea, but then I thought, oh, it's very... very specific. Option 3, fully modular approach. My recommendation: combine the two. Segment curves dynamically. Only generate mesh for sections where curvature exceeds a threshold, or the section doesn't contain a station. Prefab straight sections. For straight sections, including stations, spawn modular prefabs. Station cutouts. Always reserve a buffer for the station itself. You can either leave the mesh empty or place a prefab platform. Why this works best: curves still have smooth, continuous procedural mesh. Stations can exist on gentle curves without mesh modification. Modular prefabs keep the system flexible. You can tweak or replace them for design iterations. Additional considerations: vertex welding. If you generate separate curve meshes, make sure to connect vertices at segment boundaries to avoid gaps. Spline versus mesh resolution. Keep the mesh resolution fine enough that Slight curvature near stations doesn't visually collide with platforms. Prefab alignment. Align station prefabs along the spline tangent at the station's distance to ensure correct orientation. Yeah, I guess it's basically just saying that that would give us the maximum number of prefabs. Yeah, we could go with that. Okay, so I think I should map out, let's map out another route first. We've only got one route right now. Okay. So I was going to go through and just do it in order, basically. So if we check our model, our routes, our route is locked down now, I think. But it's probably good to keep these points just in case we need them. We don't need to visually see them though. They don't need colliders, they never did. Okay, so there's Bakerloo only has one route, which we've done. Central has two. Let's do Central's routes. So we're going to enable the central line. That's the circle line, isn't it? Oh shit, yeah, that is the circle line. Central line, there's central line. Isn't this above ground? Yeah, it doesn't really matter though. I think the central line, is the central line above ground? No, I don't think it is. I think it's still underground. Yeah, I think that's still underground. But our system's going to have both. Our system has both overground and underground network capabilities with different types of tracks. Okay, so here's how we make a route. So Central has two routes. So we create a spline on route A and we add the route generator, build spline. We add our build spline script. Smoothing resolution I always want at 20. I want the maximum smoothing that I can have because it's not like we're struggling with efficiency or anything. Okay, and all I basically do is I put some points into auto build and it takes care of the rest itself. So what we do, I think it was starting at west nip slip. So this is all part of west nip slip. Terminal here, so the train would end up roundabout here. So we're going to take this sphere and we're going to... There was a reason, yes, because it's this, because that's all part of static mesh. Yeah. Yeah. The easiest way for me to do this right now is to grab one of my previous markers, which actually just made invisible. There's one. I'm going to duplicate this marker, which is marker position 1, and we're going to place it at west roo slip, and we're going to add it to central's first spline. So there's our first point there. And all we do is we just mark all of the little sections with these objects, with these transforms. That's why I'm really proud of this system. So we mark each node, but it's important that we mark each corner as well. So we rebuild the network essentially. So this one doesn't need to be here. We can start. We mark the start corner, and then we mark the end corner, so that the curves can generate. So that becomes 3. That becomes 4. Same again. Now this is. Let me make sure this is the right route. This route is going from West Roo Slip to wherever it goes. But one of the routes goes from Ealing Broadway. Yeah, this is the right route. Good. So obviously we want to make sure our nodes match the actual route that's mapped out. So I thought I'd check. Yeah, this is the correct route. Okay. So, and then our other one goes from the other fork, right? We have a separate route for that. So this becomes that. And we just plot out each point along the line. That's all we need to do. We can number these later. Just make sure they're in order. They must be in order. I mean, to be fair, you don't even really need to do that. It will make one big long... This is pretty much a straight line anyway. We can take that all the way to there if we want.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Bernice, and I'll be serving you today. What can I get for you? A drink? Some snacks? Oh, a little flames! Mocktails mixer size. The snacks are real nice. Sodas I'll mix dry. I'm lit, you can't deny. Wherever you want.
So there's Banks Terminal. That will define the length of the curve. There's Liverpool streets. Try and center it to that. Because we don't have the station, whatever the station is. This line exists in real life, but not in our game. We don't have the station for it. So we take it to there. And our final destination is Epping. Alright, so So our spline. Let's just number all these points and make sure that we have them numbered correctly. We could actually write a script to do that for us if we wanted to. Okay, so there's our points. We want to grab them and add them to the auto build queue. There we go. And now all we do is we run our code and you'll see that all of our points and distances get built for us. There's our distances. There's our points, including our curves. So there's our spline data. So we have our spline data. Just make sure it all looks good. Yeah, it looks good. We copy it and we paste it. So now this is our spline.
Did you know Cappy today Genshin released an official teaser images of the Traveler's Darken in the image and the whole Genshin community is guessing new Traveler outfits.
Then we empty auto build so that it doesn't rebuild. Was this one set to rebuild? If this one was set to rebuild, yeah, it was set to rebuild. Wait, our Bakerloo. I don't know why my Bakerloo is not on the route. That's kind of weird. Anyway, it should be fine. So there's our entry points. We have our spline data. We have our smoothed curves. And my train system knows where to find it because it literally knows that it knows this route that belongs to Central and it knows that I will place the spline on the route. So now, let me just take these off. Okay, so now what? We don't have a railway line, right? Wait a minute. Something went wrong. What the fuck? This is Central's route. Why is it? Hang on. So what is this? This is Central's route. How did I lose my Bakerloo spline? What the fuck? I think I deleted the wrong spline. Fuck. Oh no! Can I undo it back? Or do I need to restore from back up? How the fuck did I do that? I gotta be really careful when I do this. Give me my spline back. I don't understand what happened to it. Okay, I fucked something up. Oh, there it is. We got it back. We got it back. Jesus Christ. Okay, right. Fucking idiots. Okay, that was a close one. We almost fucking destroyed everything. Right, there's my spline for central. Is it my spline? Or is it the... Yeah, it is my spline. I have my sample points. Auto build becomes 0. So I have 2 splines. Yes.
Peaky QuickTime 787 asks, it seems like your morning stream is yet again going not to including gaming today, and did you enjoy the new Woo
That one
update too,
has no
Cappy?
sample points. So that was our constructor. This is our actual spline. Right, this is our actual spline. So turn that off, turn that off. Turn that off, turn that off. Our spline. Okay, let me just back that up. Because I almost fucking destroyed everything. Right, copy 3. Yeah, I still don't really like War. War's not my fucking game. I'll play it, but it's... Yeah, I'm really not a War fan. The game takes itself way too fucking seriously. It's way too sweaty and fucking try hard. And the one thing that I may have enjoyed from the new patch would have been exploration, but they fucked exploration up by making it so you have to ride a bike everywhere. And took flying off you. So for me, it's kind of a shit patch. The story is a lot better. The story is much better than it used to be, but I don't really play fucking War for the story. Yeah, not my kind of game. Too sweaty, takes itself too seriously. Doesn't offer enough in terms of exploration. It's a shame.
You called the new Woo update a Tron type of update.
Yeah, because that's what it sounded like when it was updating. It was playing Tron music at me, and it had all fucking grids coming at me and stuff. It just looked like Tron. It is Tron-like. Right, so we have our spline now. So the next thing we do is we create a new railway mesh generator. So this one, we should name this so we can see what it is. This one is Bakerloo A. So let's create a new railway. This one is going to be Central A. And then what we do, we delete the sleepers. We give it our new spline on Central. There it is. And we hit regenerate. There it is. Look at that. We now have a rest of Central Route airline. I just follow it, make sure it makes sense. Yep, goes through that terminal. Goes through that terminal. Goes around here, through there. Now, technically, you don't really have sleepers on the underground rails. You only have them on the overground rails. But we can use sleepers to determine journey progression and stuff. So I'm probably just going to make them invisible on the underground, but keep them there. There's no reason not to have them. They're actually good to measure center alignment. Wait, did our mesh stop generating? That didn't happen before. What? Why did our rails end?
So far for December I've been finding it quite dry for new game releases, but instead it's packed with new game updates though, plus Genshin's next event is on December, and it seems like a Wonderland event is ending soon too.
Okay, I don't know why the mesh ends prematurely. The rails end.
December 29.
Pika, I don't care right now. Can you not see I'm busy with this? I'm having a strange issue with my rail mesh generator. I'm generating route A on central line. Route A is West Ruslev. The rail mesh ends prematurely just past Stratford, despite there being unless the transforms double back on themselves or something. Let me just check these points.
Canthia says, you're being basis as usual. Bike amazing, there plenty of exploration. It is a bike world, you don't need to fly. You always complain about not enough story or developer not trying new things. You're complaining about old wings that you don't really need, and you're complaining about new ways to travel. Peak QuickTime 787 says, I know you moved your gaming to your evening stream, which most in Asia are fast asleep or just getting up for the morning.
You know that I'm an explorer type, and my favorite thing to do is to explore. Why wouldn't I complain about my favorite thing to do getting worse? I complained about it in Tower of Fantasy as well, when they made it all about collecting balls. I said, this fucking sucks, it's no fun going around collecting balls, because it's not. So yeah, of course I'm going to complain when I like to explore above everything else. Well, it's not the order of the points. The order of the points look fine.
That can't be. Cappy would prefer to explore in Genshin over Wu, would they, right, Cappy?
Well, exploration's overall better in Genshin, yeah. It's better in Infinity, Nikki. Everyone's allowed to have their favorite things, just, you know, it doesn't mean... Technically these lines cross through each other, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. How would I handle that though? That might be another problem I need to address. Because if I build tunnels around all of these rails, I can't have an intersection of a tunnel where another train can go through it, really. I mean, I could, but... Oh, the other thing I could do is I could put these tracks at different heights, so one tunnel's above the other tunnel, or below the other tunnel, whichever. And then have it so that there's a height difference between tunnels. So at the intersection between Oxford Circus here, I think rather than have the rails at the same height, yeah, because that obviously that wouldn't work, would it, in real life? And even if it did, it would be dangerous. But I could place the tunnel, a tunnel above this tunnel, so the other train runs below and you run above. That might be how it works in real life, I'm not sure. So to make that happen, these points are quite close to each other. I would need points that elevate the track. But we can't do it close to another point. So we would need a point next to point 7, which becomes the new point 7, I guess. We could start it from like there. And that's quite a long straight, so that's fine, I guess. So what you do is we put these 2 points at whatever height we want the platform to be at. So we could go up to like... 5's too much. Maybe 1's too much. Whatever we want. 0.5. And then we'll incline from here to here. If we wanted to, we could smooth these out. We could make this an iterative thing. Yeah, if we made this
If what Cappy said about Wu's new update being a Tron, then it's very, very, very likely I'll skip it too, since Tron does have tons of lightning after all, to the point where as soon as they come to digital stores, they put a health warning on those movies.
0.25. And then what we... Oh, it's a bit close to a corner, that one, though. That would be a death corner. Okay. Yeah, that might be okay. Yeah, essentially we want to incline so we go above the other line. And then our tunnel for Bakerloo can run underneath, and our tunnel for Central Line can run above. It's probably more likely the other way around in real life, but you're not even going to know. You're inside a tunnel, you're not going to know what the fuck's going on. Like, most of this is just infrastructural, like, stuff. Right, so I'll renumber these. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then we need to rebuild the spline. The old one, that's the new one. I should probably name these splines, although I think I might be inheriting them by name. I'm sure. Yeah, it's probably safer to delete the old one.
Since advertisements on Twitter are imminent, I will engage in some comical discourse. I could tell a joke about pizza, but it's a little cheesy.
Alright, so Central Line. We now want to give it the new spline. And we want to regenerate the track. There we go. I've never really done height before. I think height might not be working correctly. Like, it put... Wait, what? Oh wait, did the order get fucked up? It's like a roller coaster. It did it, but I think my things might be in the wrong order. Because what it's done, it looks like there's two tracks. I think it went up to here, then went down here, and then loops back around again. So it's probably, the points must be in the wrong order. Let me check that. That's probably why. So we go, yeah, the points are in the wrong order. That one should be there. Which direction are we going in? Yeah, I thought we were coming along here. 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not 7. That should be 7. 7. These are completely fucked up. Then it's... Right, let me rename it. Let's do this slowly. 6. It looks like it's working though. 7. That is now 7. I don't know what that is. That is now 8. That is 8. already. 7, 8. That's 9 now. 7 became 9. And then 10 should be 10. 11, yeah. That's now correct. So we go back to our spline. Lock it. Add these into auto build in the correct order this time. Hit play. Let it rebuild everything. Copy it. Paste it. Take out auto build. Go back to our railway. Give it the new spine. Hit regenerate. There we go. That's much better. There we go. Now our track, okay, that's way better. Now our track goes over Oxford Circus. Yeah, that is how it works. Of course, that's why there's escalators in the London Underground. You do go up and down stairs in the London Underground depending on which line. Yeah, that must be how they built this in real life. It makes me wonder if I want to look up, like, and make it, like, correct. You won't even know if you're going up or down though in a tunnel. Like, you're not even really gonna know. It depends, like, how far does this project go, right? Because obviously it means I mean, Oxford Circus would now cover if there's a platform.
PeakQuickTime 787 asks,
Oh my God,
how's your project coming along for tonight?
So obviously we need a platform at the bottom which faces this way, so that when you get off at Oxford Circus on this line, you would get off at a platform here. Are the platforms going to physically exist beyond what you pull up to? Probably not, because like this is already a big enough project. But maybe I could. So it's worth thinking about, like, well, what if I wanted to make the stations like actually so you could go up and down, you know, physically walk through them and stuff. I don't think I want to go that far, but it might be worth thinking, well, what if I did? But I suppose, like, okay, somebody might say, I live in London and actually, you know, the Basingstoke line is on the upstairs floor and Oxford Circus is on the downstairs floor. In your game, it's the other way around. And it's like, well, yeah, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could look it up, I guess. I could probably look it up and find out which line is above which line. I've just done it so that Central runs above. But I probably could look it up. But do I want to go that far? I don't think I want to go that far, to be honest. As long as this works for my game and my simulation, that's all I really care about. But yeah, I've proved that I can do it. That's actually quite cool. Except my train doesn't really know how to go up and downhill. We didn't really teach it. We're going to have to teach it now. But yeah, the line goes above Bakerloo now.
Well, there are trains that go two ways on the same track with just one station platform in some places in the world.
Yeah, those have track switching mechanisms, and the London Underground, I already told you this, the London Underground doesn't work like that. That's why they have different floors. So you'll take escalators up and down depending on which line you want. And now I understand why. I guess it's kind of obvious when you think about it, but I guess I never really thought about it before. But yeah, it's obviously because they have tunnels that run above other tunnels. Like, which is exactly how this must work. I think we fixed our rail mesh somehow. Did we fix our rail mesh? No, our rail mesh still stops early. Just past Stratford again. It's kind of weird. Why does the rail mesh end just past Stratford? I wonder.
Well, not all stations can't be like that, only the stations which have lines right on top of each other, right?
Okay. I'm having a strange issue with my rail mesh generator. I'm generating route A on Central Line, West Rue slip to Epping. The rail mesh ends prematurely just past Stratford, despite there being a fair bit of distance left until the final station. Does sleeper correctly continue all the way to the final station? Any idea why this might be? Also, while I'm thinking about this, I'll ask, I've had to run Central above Bakerloo because they cross over each other. That got me thinking about escalators in the actual underground, which probably means tunnels run above each other in real life. Do you happen to know if Central is above or below Bakerloo Line in real life? Great observations. Let's unpack both parts of your question thoroughly. Why your rail mesh stops prematurely past Stratford? Based on your description that sleepers continue correctly all the way to the final station, the rail mesh stops part way just past Stratford. This strongly suggests a mesh generation issue and not a spline sampling problem. Given that your sleepers use spline distance sampling and extend cleanly to the spline's end, but the rail mesh does not, the root cause is almost certainly in the mesh loop termination logic and build mesh. Okay, your mesh loop is float. Let's see if this is correct. So our rail mesh generator has, for float D0F, to less than or equal to total length. We don't actually use steps. Oh, that's for generate sleepers. Yeah. Okay, so apparently if we change it to this, that might fix it. Okay, we just got a little Unity glitch. I've seen this happen before. Just close and reopen it. Railways. Central. Regenerate. Nope, it still stops at Stratford. Yeah, still stops at Stratford. That's so weird. Oh, and always include the very last segment with an explicit sample at total length after loop. make it fucking matter. It gives me like 15 different solutions. Like I just want one solution that fucking works. I hate it when it does this. It's like the most schizo responses. Mind you, it has been going on for 4 days now. To refresh, but it's got all my previous context, like, which I kind of needed to have. But then again, I can always reminder. Central versus Bigaloo, real world. In real life, when lines cross, they aren't necessarily on the same plane. They can pass above or below, obviously. I already figured that out. I'm asking you implicitly, do we know if getting on the central line requires you to go up in the escalator or down in the escalator? Because that would tell us where it is, right? Whether it's up or down. Central line runs underneath Oxford Street and Bakerloo line runs under Regent Street. Near Oxford Circus, they cross each other at different depths and tie into passageways. You didn't actually answer my question. The central line runs underneath Oxford Street. And the Bakerloo line runs under Regent Street, near Oxford Circus. They cross each other at different paths and tie into passageways. This implies in reality, at intersections between lines, tunnel depth varies. One line can be physically above or below another. It's not purely 2D or planar positioning. So your need to order central above Bakerloo in game to avoid mesh overlap might reflect real tunnel stratigraphy. Holy shit, I've never heard that word in my life. I'm getting into fucking tunnel engineering terminology now. Stratigraphy, wow. Rather than just rendering order. Well, doesn't that just mean like strategizing? It might not be tunnel engineering necessarily. I've just never heard that word before, but interesting. Okay, suggested fix for build mesh complete pattern. I hate it when it does that. I was looking at that, you piece of shit. I just wanted to move it. Oh my god. Okay. So this is during the implementation of float D. But it's also now using a while loop instead of a for loop. Okay. That's kind of weird. Sampler distance. Float next D. Spline. It's not structured like that at all, though. That part's still the same. So can't I just change my control loop? Because that looks the same to me. D out vector 3 P0 out vector 3 forward 0. Float next D math F minimum D plus step till total length. Spline sample at distance next D out vector 3 P1 out vector 3 forward 1. But then instead of D equals next D, I guess we would need that there maybe. I'm worried about this. We could end up with an infinite loop and a crash here. We could, just in case. Let me just restart Unity. Actually, you know what? Unity finally added fucking auto recover. Only took them fucking 20 years. Yeah, if you do crash now, it'll ask you if you want to auto recover the recover pro. I said the fucking shit. Why it took them so long to add that, I have no idea. But they finally added it. We've got it now in 6.3. Took them fucking long enough. I can't believe it took them so long to add that. Like, you already saved the project in a backup temporary location. So why the fuck it's taken them this long just to prompt you if you want to recover it or not is insane to me. But anyway, whatever, I guess. Better late than never. Better late than fucking never, I guess. It's so funny though when these things, like, I don't know, for me there's so many things like that where you think, God, that would be like the first thing I would do, and then somebody else takes 20 years before they implement it, and you just think, what? Why did that take you guys so long to actually implement? No, it still ends at Stratford. This is now clear, and the important takeaway is your build mesh loop is logically correct. The problem is not the mesh code, it is the data you are feeding into it. The fact that sleepers reach the final station, mesh always stops at roughly the same real world location, past Stratford. You already fixed hierarchy transform issues. Loop termination logic is correct. Means spline.total length is shorter than you think it is at mesh build time. No. You just contradicted yourself, GPT, right? Sleepers reach the final station. How do sleepers reach the station? By following the spline. So how could the spline not reach the final station if sleepers are able to find their way there? That doesn't make sense. This has to be a problem with the mesh generation. Otherwise, the sleepers wouldn't be able to reach the final station. The spline is not shorter than I think it is. Unless something went wrong with the... Well, no, even that wouldn't make sense. Because again, even if something went wrong between control points and sampled points, when sample points are generated from control points in the spline generator, if there was an issue there, again, sleepers wouldn't be able to make their way to the final station because the issue would have happened at that level, right? So no, this has to be a problem with the mesh generation code. It has to be, or like, I don't know, there's some like limit on how big a mesh can get. I mean, that doesn't make sense either, really. But something to do with the mesh. It's got fuck all to do with the spline. If the spline was broken, the sleepers wouldn't be able to make their way to the destination. I'll keep reading it, but I disagree with that vehemently. How to prove this immediately. Do this first. Add this temporary debug. Debug log, spline total length. Now compare where the red line appears, where the sleepers end. If the red line is near Stratford, case closed. The most common actual bug, I've seen this exact one. You haven't seen shit, you're a fucking large language model, you haven't got eyes. You append points to the spline, but never rebuild distances. If your spline has something like spline points add new points, you must do spline build distances. Yeah, I do that, you fucking dipshit. Where am I putting this exactly? At the end of spline generation. GPT's so full of shit sometimes. It's been really good though. It's helped me get this far, I will admit. I don't know how long this would have took me on my own. It would have took me a lot longer than 4 days though. I'll give it that. A lot longer. I probably would have got there eventually though. Yeah, like GB... I mean, fucking AI has its uses, I gotta admit. Like when it's good, it can be fucking incredible. But like, I wouldn't like to think I didn't know what I didn't already know what I was doing. Like if I was like some, like, you know, what do you call it? Aspiring? If I was aspiring to get into game dev and I was a noob. I would be very fucked as soon as something went wrong. Plus, I think that's the other thing as well. I think I'm able to get GPT to do a better job by having a good architectural understanding of how things should work. So that lets me instruct it better, right? I guess it's like the best analogy I can come up with, right? Imagine GPT could build you a house, right? And you're a guy off the street who knows nothing about building. Like if you ask GPT to cement some bricks together and make a shape of a house, it will cement and then it does just that, and then your house falls down a week later. And then it started saying, well, yeah, you didn't lay any foundations and you didn't, I don't know bricklaying, right? But you know, there's all kinds of things you didn't do that you're supposed to do. And then you're sat there, because I've seen this happen myself, right? And you're sat there going, well, why the fuck didn't you tell me this? But the reason why is because you didn't ask, right? Like if you ask the right questions, it will give you the answers. But you've got to like coax it towards the thing that you need. And if you haven't a clue what you need because you've got no like experience or knowledge on the subject matter, then it will literally just give you exactly what you ask for. But you might not know what to ask for. That's the biggest hiccup. But because I know exactly what to ask for, I think that really helps as well. And I understand like the architecture of how things should fit together and how things should work. yeah, that massively helps as well. But yeah, I don't think you can, like, I mean, Pika was saying the other day that, like, you know, these games are going to be making themselves and maintaining themselves. No one is ever going to need to intervene ever again. I just really don't see it. I really don't see that ever happening. Well, I mean, yeah, I could see it happening for, like, the most, like, generic, like, noughts and crosses or fucking Mario ripoff, or, you know, like, something that it's just seen 1,000 times before. But it's never going to be truly creative. It's like Stable Diffusion in the image generation, right? You need to tell it that you want a fucking woman with 10 arms and 6 tits, right? And then it'll make you a woman with 10 arms and 6 tits. But, like, it can't dream that up itself, right? It can't, like, sure, it could randomly, you could randomly pass it a load of prompts, but that's not creativity. That's just random slop. And so if you were going to try and make a game in a similar method by giving it random slop prompts, you're going to end up with a random slop game. It's going to have no real structure or, like, overall. I don't know what it's talking about. It's saying there should be a red gizmo. I mean, it's orange, but it was orange before gizmos was on. The orange border just shows me that the mesh is selected. Everything's turned on. Spline total length 50,031.494. Which is the final cumulative distance. Okay, I'm not seeing any red line with gizmos turned on. What am I looking for? Spline total length 50,031.494. This matches up to the final cumulative distance value in the spline's list. Also, if the spline ended prematurely, the sleepers wouldn't know their way to the final station. Sleeper placement must be following spline curvature to the end. Good questions. Both of them are pointing at the right layer of the problem now. Let's clear up the confusion first. Then narrow the fault down precisely. Why you're not seeing the red line? You use this debug draw rate end position vector 3 up 10F color red 10F. Important details that are easy to miss. Debug draw rate is not a gizmo. It only renders in the scene view. It only renders while the game is playing. Oh, okay. That's kind of fucking weird. Am I looking at the right track? I don't know if I'm looking at the right track. Central. I'm at Bank, Liverpool Street, Stratford. This is where it ends. Red line. I still don't see a fucking red line. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, mate. What are you talking about, mate? Hey, mate. What are you talking about? Should I start calling GPT mate? Hey, mate. You fucking with me, mate. You winding me up, mate. Could be behind that ball, I guess. I don't see no fucking red line. What are you talking about, mate? I don't see no fucking red line. Like, shut up. I know it's not the fucking spline ending prematurely. Because again, right, how would these sleepers know how to get to the fucking final station? Well, they're using magic fucking Paimon dust. I don't think so. Like, obviously they're following the fucking spline. How else are they going to get there? So the spline is not ending prematurely. There's no fucking way that it is. That's just common sense. That's what GPT lacks. Well, yeah, because it doesn't have a brain. Only has some virtual neuron connections which don't work the same way. Oh my god. Real mesh ends at sleeper 1280 and the sleepers go on till 1572. Oh my god, what are you doing to me? It disappears after 10 seconds. As well. Oh, I might have missed it. Fucking 10 seconds. I might not have even put it in the right place. Where do you want me to put this debug? The debug. This is so stupid. Because I don't generate mesh on enable. Right. Leave it on the screen for 100 seconds then. And here's what we'll do. This is so dumb. Public bool temporary, what temp will do, temp debug equals true. We'll leave it false for now because we need to make sure everything is built first, like all the data is built, any spline and all that stuff, all the references have been fixed in place. So then what we'll do is in update I'll say if temporary debug, then piece of shit. What are you doing? What are you doing? Dickhead. Right, then do the thing for a fucking 1,000 seconds. Why are you giving me such a harsh time limit? Little bitch. Also, we should probably set temp debug to false. Okay, so now what we can do is run. I'm tempted to delete this small model. I don't even think I need it anymore. And it drives me insane. Every time I reopen the fucking thing, there's just too much shit in my hierarchy right now. It's driving me insane. Right. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Ooh, it will only run. Regenerate. Oh shit. I pressed the wrong thing. I wasn't supposed to hit regenerate. I was supposed to hit temporary debug. No, yeah, temporary debug. Yeah, still don't see no fucking red line, you bitch. Aha! Yeah, you fucking the red line's at the end of the spline, you motherfucker. Oh, I can't wait to tell it. Yeah, and it's pointing up. I see it. I see it. I see your stupid fucking red line. It's right at the end of the spline. Okay. Okay. Excellent, thank you for pasting the full generator. With this confirmation, the root cause is now 100% identifiable, and it is not spline math, transforms, hierarchy, or sampling. This is one of those Unity silent failure. Oh, I think I remember that song from school. Silent failure, holy failure, also known as Pika. Sorry, Pika. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. With this confirmation, the root cause is now 100% silent failure. Issues that catches almost everyone at least once. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Oh yeah, of course it catches almost everyone at least once. I bet if I asked my next door neighbor and the fucking girl over the road and the fucking neighbor's dog, have you ever been caught by the Unity silent failure while you've been fucking interpolating spline mesh data and generating rail mesh in Unity? I'm sure they'll say, oh yeah mate, I caught me off guard the other week. Fuck off. It's so full of it. Who's even doing this? Me and like 3 other guys probably in the entire planet. Because you've got to be insane to even want to do this. Alright? You make it sound like every fucking bloke down the shop's doing this in his spare time. You fucking idiots. Jesus. The real reason you're real much you are hitting Unity's 16-bit measure. Have you ever been caught out by that, Pika? This bug? I mean, you could have told me about it. If you've come across this before, I'll be very angry that you didn't tell me about it. Unity meshes default to 16.
Yeah, or they could say use Unreal instead of Unity.
Shut the fuck up. Get out of my chat right now. That's disgusting. That is the most disgusting thing you've ever said. You are hitting Unity's 16-bit mesh index limit. Unity meshes for... See, I said this earlier. I was hitting some kind of size limit. Didn't I say it? Maximum vertices addressable, 65,535. Anything beyond that is silently ignored. Produces meshes that appear to end early. Does not throw errors. Your sleepers work because they are instantiated as game objects. Your real fails because they are one continuous procedural mesh. Okay, so we'll then continue it then. Look out for that. Why didn't you fucking guard against that, you stupid fucking Jippity? Oh, we can just use integer 32 and make them. Won't that just mean it'll fail twice? Twice. It'll fail half as often. Yay! Did you fix it? No. It'll fail half as often though. Oh, okay then. That's great. Yeah, I'm glad you don't fly a fucking plane. In build mesh, before assigning vertices or triangles, add mesh index format. Unity rendering index. Can we use 60? Is there 64 bits? Can we not just do 64-bit and be a crazy motherfucker? Just go fully hardcore. I mean, I would have thought the solution would be to count the number of vertices while we're generating meshes. Once we get close to that limit, seal that mesh off and start a new one. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? But no, Jibbity doesn't want to do it that way. Jibbity wants to just like
Well, Genshin any day of the week because it's made with Unity, which is better engine to Unreal and won't crash too no matter how old your device is compared to Unreal.
Unity. Jibbity wants to split the universe in two, right? With a 64-bit alternative version, right, of the universe. Just so that we can fit its stupid fucking big-ass singular generated fucking mesh in it. Rather than just split it up into pieces. Like, I mean, ugh. Jibbity, sometimes I fucking despair at you. Right. In build mesh. So we don't want our temporary debug anymore. Taking that out. Taking my ball home. Jesus Lord Christ. Right. Mesh. Oh, I guess we need to define it first. Index format, Unity, U integer 32. Is there such a thing as 64-bit U integers? No, it caps out at 32. Yeah, I thought it might. Alright, so that should mean we can make the mesh twice as long. It should be big enough for this project. But that does seem like a bit of a stupid fix. Because aren't we just delaying the inevitable? Again, the central line is probably the biggest line in the game, to be honest. So if it can make it to the end of the central line... If I can make it to the end of the central line, I'll make it any line. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life? It's the fact that it just like it forced me. That was bullying. I count that as bullying. I told it time and time again that it wasn't that, but it wouldn't have it. It's obvious. I mean, it's so obvious. God, but it
the one thing we know is coming next week is Genshin's Luna 4 special program where we'll know the answer to an important question. And girl,
prove it, didn't it? The little shit fuck. Right, okay, so now we're going to try and regenerate it with a uint32 property, which hopefully should mean that running 32-bit mesh generation or using integers of 32-bit length as we generate the mesh should allow the rails to reach the end. But obviously if we ever want to make this way bigger, what if I want to build a train to fucking Darlington? There you go, fixed it. For now. Yep, that fixed it. One line solution. One line. 50 lies. Unity. No, it's not Unity. Chat GPT hates me and will gaslight me all night long. Gaslight any fuck of that thing. Right. Okay, we now have a rail that goes all the way to the end. Oh boy. That's one big ass long railway. It is one big... That fucking railway! How long is it going to take us to complete that? It depends what speed we run at, I guess. Should we give it a shot? Okay, so in measuring mode. So now in measuring mode, we should be able to set our train motion up and say we want to go from West Ruislip to fucking hell, Epping. But that takes ages in real life as well. That fucking line's huge. Epping. Alright, let's see it. And we're running at 55 mile an hour. Now, okay, in real life, apparently, trains take... Let's see how accurate our game simulation is. The rate... I think it said the underground runs at about 77 miles an hour, I think it said. Let me check. But you've got to remember, it would stop at every stop, right? We're going to do an express...
Well, there have weird ideas on future train projects, like, for example, a train traveling from one country that's over 7,600 km away from the destination country it wants to go to.
Shut up! Blah, 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 blah. Right. 60 miles an hour. Let's do it. West Ruislip. What? Null reference? What's the null reference? Aren't we in measure mode? Oh, we're not in measure mode. That's why. It's fine, my bad. I forgot to put us in measurement mode. It's trying to read values that don't exist yet. Okay, let's do it. Measurement mode. Let's make sure we're in the right place. Are we at West Ruislip? I don't see us. Wait, where are we?
Since advertisements on Twitter are imminent, I will engage in some comical discourse. Why did the cowboy have a whiner dog? Somebody told him to get along, little doggy.
Where am I? Fuck am I? Oh, I went from Harrow and Wheelstone. Why is that? Oh, wait. So it's getting the wrong spline. Oh, I gave it the wrong route. That's why. I gave it the wrong route. My bad. Yeah, I also need to give it the correct route. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Bakerloo, we want to give it central route. There we go. That's why.
Some say our network cables are underwater, so why not trains, they say.
Some say shut the fuck up. What are you talking shit about? Wait, why does that say route B? Oh, I'm an idiot. I gave it the wrong route. Again. It's because I'm getting tired and I need a break. Getting grumpy. Route A, central. That's correct now. Alright, if this works, I'm going to be really happy. Great place to leave it and take a break. Okay, 60 miles an hour, which is about the speed it runs in real life. What I'm curious about is how long does that journey take in real life? But you've got to remember that, yeah, we are coming from West Ruislip as well. It's working great. There we go. West Ruislip. So now if we wanted to, we could measure all the stations, right, which is the next step. But there you go. Looking great. So obviously we can remap every single line in the in London.
Yeah, it's because you've been streaming for another 5 hours, right, Cappy?
No, 3.5.
About time.
It would take quite a while. Yeah, we could give it, we could fuck with the
Bandit
camera.
Brethren says, Henny ha henny awaiting.
Hello. Where's my camera gone? Are we going in head B? Is that attached to head? Yeah, it is. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we could get like a map. Oh, look it. Wait, did it go up and downhill properly? I wasn't paying attention. I think it did, right? I really wasn't paying attention. I was too busy trying to figure out where my camera was. Right, I was thinking we could do like a map view though and see where it's actually at. Oh, that's not the right rotation. There we go. Now we can see like where we are on the map. We're just coming past Liverpool Street. There we are. Liverpool Street. So we can look at the journey. The route. Route A goes from West Ruislip, Oxford Street, Bank, Liverpool Street, Stratford and Epping. We're just going past Stratford now. We've almost completed the journey. So the next stop should be Epping, and then that should be our journey complete. We should be coming up to Epping now. Hee hee! This is cool as frick. I love it. I've only got like...
Streamulman says, at peak equip time 787. PlayCompile has been streaming for 3 hours 24 minutes.
What does it matter? There we go. We arrived at Epping. Yay! So we did it. So yeah, route is traversable. We need to measure all the station distances so that we know where they're at. I want to see it again though. Let me run it again because I just want to make sure that...
Bennett Brethren says, Penny cheer.
Because the lines intersect, we couldn't find out how it works in real life. We know it works like this in real life, which is why there are escalators in the underground. We know that there are tunnels that overlap each other at a height, but I don't know whether Central's above Bakerloo. This is the Bakerloo line, and this is Central that we're on right now. So this is the first time I've introduced height to my rail system, so I just want to make sure it's working properly. So zoom out a little bit. Zoom out. Okay, where are we at now? Are we gaining height? Yes. So I added height to the track here. Yeah, we're just coming up to it now. As you can see, this goes above even more. Yeah, we look good actually. We're ascending. It is kind of clipping through. We need to like rotate upwards a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of clipping through. But the truth is, the underground rails, these sleepers won't be here. We've just got rails. So that it won't clip through the sleepers, because it'll just be running along the rails when we're finished. But I'm using these sleepers as distance markers so I can measure journey progression. So I'll make them invisible in the final. Oh yeah, also there's a little bit of strangeness going on with the carriages when we get to a height. Look at the carriages. Yeah, the carriages need to rotate vertically. They're flying back up now though. Yeah, so it goes up and down, but it's like a spirit level, right? The train stays completely straight on the horizontal. So we need to add horizontal tilt now to the train, because we're gonna have some tunnels overlapping other tunnels. But yeah, this is all working pretty good. I'm really pleased with this. 4 days and we've got all this. Real world stations from the real world underground map.
Peak equip time 787 says, I heard in London there are even more tunnels that had never been used for decades.
That is so cool. All our lines. Yeah, there was quite a few of them. I think 30 odd stations. 30 odd stations that are no longer in use. Yeah, this should be cool once it's done. It's gonna reflect the real London train systems. There's gonna be underground, overground. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, my little train system already knows how to get from station to station. And there you go, we arrived at Epping. Hee hee! Beautiful. I'm really happy with that. Really happy with that. It's a great place to take a break. So there you go, we now have 2 lines done, Central and Bakerloo. There is a second Central route though. If I show the Central line, again, that's the wrong model, that's the small original one. There's our Central line. So I need to do the Ealing Broadway line as well, which is pretty much the same route except we come from Ealing Broadway rather than West Nip Slip. And so I can path that out. We can use most of the same points from the Route A line. So if we check our Route A line, we have our points. Right, these grey dots are our points. I can use this point onwards for the same route, and then I just put a point here instead. So I could do that now actually, it's pretty straightforward to do. The only issue is, so what it would really do is it would join on with that rail. For my game system, it makes sense to have separate routes so that it doesn't get confused. In the real world, the rails, this rail would join onto this rail, which is the same rail. My game can't do that because it'll get confused. So instead, we'll have a separate route for that comes from Ealing Broadway. So what I am going to need is I'm going to need a system that knows the variations of forked routes. What that'll basically do is it'll tell the simulator, okay, if route A or B of Central is selected, the other one should be turned off so that they don't collide basically. So we either have Ealing Broadway's route active if that's the one we're on, or we have West Ruislip's route if that's the one we're on. Yeah. And then that way we don't have like conflicting routes getting like overriding each other.
Kiki QuickTime 787 says, enough Christmas is over for another year as we're heading towards the new year. Time flies, ready for new beginnings in the new year. Party pop.
Party pop. She sounded like she was dying at the party pop. You don't sound like you need a party, Neffy. You sound like you need a freaking hospital and a pacemaker. Party pop. I'm sorry, she just did. She sounded like she was on her last legs and she was dying. Okay, brilliant. That's a great place to leave it. Looking great. Obviously, I just need to do all the rest of the routes, all the rest of the lines. Then we need to do tunnel generation. Then we need to do station platforms and build those in. And then it's like 90% done. Like it's like 90% done. It's crazy. And then I'll figure out how I'm going to work that into an actual game, a gameplay loop. Cool. Really happy with this. Alright, I'll be back on tomorrow, probably. I might appear again tonight, I don't know, after I've eaten. Depends what's going on. I mean, I might do some more Wuthering Waves, I guess. But I don't know, Wuthering Waves annoyed me last night. It's made me mad. It just takes itself so seriously. So I don't know whether I want to do that or not. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we need to fix the vertical.
Okay, Cappy, then have a nice day and enjoying your time in deep space.
In deep space? I didn't say I was. I said I might. All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys. See you either tonight or tomorrow or whenever I see you. Bye.